The Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, has elected a new set of executives to steer the affairs of the association in line with its constitution. The organization has been in the eye of many controversies, including allegations that some of its members are responsible for kidnapping, banditry, among other crimes. However, MACBAN has maintained that its members are victims of criminal profiling. Besides all of this, the stalemate trailing many initiatives by the federal government, including recovery of grazing routes, Ruga policy, and National Livestock Transformation Plan, which all failed to properly take off, is seen as one of the reasons for increased insecurity in many parts of the country. Tonight on the program, we'll be speaking to the newly elected president of the association, Baba Othman Ngalzarma. Before now, he served as the national secretary of the association. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me, Madam.
We're happy that you are here with us in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Well, viewers, this is Daily Politics. We will take a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Welcome. This is Daily Politics, and I am Hamza Idris. With me in the studio is Baba Othman Ngalzarma, the newly elected president of MACBAN. Welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we are aware of the intrigues that trailed the election of new leadership of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. How tough was it, and how did you emerge?
It was a bit tough. But Alhamdulillah, I appreciate God for giving me victory.
Yeah.
At least whatever took place, we associated to the will of God. Yeah. But now we are victorious. We also associate this to the will of God. Alhamdulillah, we appreciate God for everything. And we hope this new leadership that has come on board now will be a source of peace for the entire pastoralists in the country. We hope God will help us bring to an end the challenges being faced by the Nigerian pastoralists in general. We hope we can use this medium to appreciate His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto for organizing a formidable team to take charge of the screening and the election. And Alhamdulillah, everything went well. And the lessons we have learned from the immediate past election is that from the measure taken on screening the candidates and the way the election was conducted, the signal sent to everyone that has won the election is no longer business as usual. So everybody has to tighten his belt to work for the betterment of the Nigerian pastoralists. Yeah.
How do you intend to carry, should I say, aggrieved members, even though it was a fair contest, who maybe were unable to get any of the slots? How do you intend to carry them along?
Mine is an open door policy. I will carry everybody along, not only those who have contested along with me, and not only those who have contested different seats and did not win in the election. Everybody is welcome, including more especially our elites, who we think have a very important role to play in helping us bring an end to the challenges of the Nigerian pastoralists. So it's an open door policy. Our doors are open, my arms are open to embrace each and every person who is ready to come and contribute for the success of the association and for the betterment of the Nigerian pastoralists. So everybody is welcome anyway. We welcome everybody. We welcome all constructive criticisms. They are all welcome. Everybody is welcome. Let's put our hands together and bring an end to the challenges that the pastoralists are facing in the country. The challenges are so enormous. It's more than the capacity of one association,
person,
not only one person, one association. In fact, we'll work with all the other pastoralist associations. We have to put our heads together if we are working for the pastoralists.
Yes, I really have many questions in respect to that, because it's not only MACBAN, there are many others. But the mere mention of Hada, or let me be specific, Fulani, it elicits, suspicion across the country. Why? Why the profiling?
Well, we attribute this aspect of profiling to the attitude of some media houses, and to some extent, and the attitude of some politicians. Politicians today sometimes use religion to get what they want, and sometimes they use ethnicity, tribalism, to get what they want. So this is the game anyway. So the negative profiling, we believe to some extent, is deliberate. Some people out there are trying to prepare the Nigerian Fulanis for genocide. That is why they embarked on the negative profiling and sustained it until now, when almost everybody thinks negatively against the pastoralists. Even if a person divorces his wife in the southern part of the country, it is normally attributed to the pastoralists. But thank God, a lot of criminals who are being caught, and for the security to realize they are not mostly Fulanis. We always agree we have our fair share of criminals.
Yes, because you see sometimes maybe in Ondo, or in Oyo, or in Benue, or in Kaduna, after certain criminality, was carried out, you now see victims, I mean the suspects, coming from different tribes. But at the point the event happened, you see the headlines, okay, Fulani Hadas storm so village, and this. How do you receive this, and why do you think it is happening? Is it a deliberate attempt to actually target your people?
It's a deliberate attempt to target our people. But that is the beauty of truth, justice. You can only hide it for a while, but it will show itself. The facts are beginning to come out clearly for everybody to know that not only the pastoralists, not only the Fulani youths are involved in this criminality. Is everybody, every ethnicity, every tribe is involved. So profiling or attributing it totally to the pastoralists is a clear injustice. And the facts are beginning to come out clearly for everybody to see now, that most of the times when investigations are conducted, you discover those caught are not actually Fulanis, but they dress in the attire of Fulanis, because the Fulanis have been profiled negatively. So if everybody thinks whatever happens is being perpetrated by a Fulani man. So if you mention the name of a Fulani man as a criminal, it's easy for everybody to say, okay, yes, these guys are criminals as we know. But the facts are beginning to come out for everybody to see now. Arrests were made in so many areas of the Federation. The facts come out to be that those perpetrators are not Fulanis.
So, but there are some of them. So I want to ask this question, Baba. At what point did the Fulani young man, who is known to be carrying stick, herding cow, at what point did he had connection with some of these crime and criminalities? Because everything has beginning. Is it that he was also attacked, or he was a victim, or he realized that maybe banditry and all that is the way to go, more than maybe tending to a cow for 5 years, selling it to realize profit and other economic gains?
Education and poverty, lack of education and poverty, that is ignorance, if I can put it this way, and poverty are two things that can make a person to become anything. The pastoralist youths were not given the opportunity to be educated because of the nature of their trade and because of the neglect and that society has suffered over the years, because it is a neglected society for decades. These are people who are doing their legitimate things, rearing the cow, roaming while looking for free pasture for their herds, because this is the only thing they know. This is what they saw their forefathers do, and because there was no attempt by the first administrations to transform, to modernize their trade. So they only practice what they only know as a source of livelihood and a way of life. So as they are doing that, the nature of the business did not give them the opportunity to settle
in one place
and be educated. So they are always on the move. They are always on the move looking for where their cows will get pasture to eat, or where their cows can get water to drink. That is what is pushing them to the southern part of the country, because all the grazing reserves we have in the north are becoming bare, no grass, no water. So they gradually move from one area to the other looking for water and pasture for their herds. So this makes them become illiterate, because the opportunity for them to be educated was not there. And secondly, with the emergence of cattle rustling, it started in a small scale to a larger scale, to a bigger scale, to an industrial scale, to the extent that thousands of cows are today missing without trace.
Thousands? You have some figures, thousands?
Yes, I can give you one example. In one community in Niger State, in Kafin Koro, early this year, in a single day, 1,720 cows were arrested. 1,720
in one incident?
Cows were arrested in one incident from a lot of pastoralist families. So just imagine how many families will be affected by that. And that is their only source of livelihood.
Was it reported?
It was reported.
Was there compensation?
None.
Have your members been compensated?
The pastoralists, the Nigerian pastoralists has never enjoyed any form of compensation right from the onset of insurgency in the northeast, where they became...
This was around 2000. Okay, let me get it clear. You know, governments over time, let's start from 1999. If you talk about bird flu, you know, farmers who, you know, had poultry and lost it to bird flu.
They were being adequately compensated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you also have farmers who lost their grains.
They are being adequately compensated, maybe because they are sedentary.
Okay, what is the problem with yours? You allude that there was nothing like that.
Nothing like that. Let's begin from the northeast, where the insurgency took place some years back. Okay. The pastoralists remain the typical victims of that crisis, because at the time, the insurgents are using the pastoralist cows as their only source of money, until when they finish the entire cows in the north, is that they started looting communities. So
abducting people.
A lot of pastoralists were rendered poor as a result of that insurgency in the northeast. And with the coming up of banditry in the northwest, one can imagine how many pastoralist families were being affected by that. And in all this that is taking place, there has never been a time, to my notice, when compensation are being paid to the pastoralists. That is part of the frustration.
But you've been part of MACBAN for a very long time. Have you ever written officially to government to say that, okay, because sometimes government works, you know, with figures to say that, okay, we've been rendered poor, we've been robbed of our cattle, this is the number, these are the victims, and we need support. We
have been following it up, and there has never been a time, to my notice, when something is being given as compensation to these pastoralists by the federal government. And, you know, because, well, maybe it's because they are not sedentary. You can't identify them without the help of the pastoralist association. So if you want to get across to them, you have to come through the pastoralist association, because if a pastoralist cow has been taken away from him, he is not the type of the person that can agree to go to the IDP and wait for government to give him food. You'll never see a Fulani man in any of the IDPs starting from the north down to the south.
But don't you think that was partly responsible for inability of government to reach out to you?
Maybe it can be, but that is his culture. He will never see it in a place.
Is it condescending? He feels that it's not worth it.
That is his nature, because he's not a weak person. He's always a very powerful person. He's always a person who relies on himself for everything by himself. He has never relied on government for anything, and government has never done anything to the pastoralists from social amenity provisions I'm talking, but security is for everybody. Once the government provides security, security affects everybody. So they must be part of the security arrangement because they are Nigerians. But in terms of social amenity provision, they don't know anything. They have never used to getting anything from government. Because
now is it
they are always on their own, living in the forest, depending on themselves, depending on the cow solely, selling the cow for everything they want to do for their lives, getting the children married out, going to the hospital, everything they sell.
It is their life.
Everything. This is their life. There has never been a time when compensation or any form of support is being extended to the pastoralists, to my knowledge.
What is the numerical strength of cattle in Nigeria and then herders?
The last time a livestock census was conducted in this country was in 1991. Since then, there has never been a livestock census up till today. So we are still going by that statistical figure of 19.5 million, maybe adding some percentages after.
Just the way we do for humans.
That's the way the statistics works. But I can tell you, Hamza, today that I am sure if there is going to be a very good census, livestock census to be conducted in this country, we will have close to maybe 100 million cows.
Wow.
But the last time it was conducted was in 1991. Now we are still using the figure of 19.5 million cows going by the 1991 statistics. So, you see, there is a total neglect in the livestock.
When you talk about total neglect, what about the nomadic school established, by the military?
Let me tell you, not only the nomadic schools, we have about 415 grazing reserves spread across the northern part of the country. All of them put together covers an area of about 5 million hectares of land.
5 million?
5 million hectares of land.
Okay.
Out of this number, some grazing reserves are being developed. Dams were provided, nomadic schools were being constructed, veterinary clinics, even milk collection centers were being put up in some of the grazing reserves.
Certain efforts were made.
Certain efforts were made by the government and by intervention from within and outside the country. But because of the neglect, all these things are allowed to dilapidate. Today, nothing works in the grazing reserves. All the dams are silted. Go to any of the grazing, go to Wase grazing reserve in Plateau State. I realized there are about 18 dams that don't work. They are all silted. So if you go to any of these grazing reserves that enjoyed intervention in the past, you realize that all those infrastructures that are being put in place in those areas are dilapidated. The dams are silted, the nomadic schools are dilapidated, where there are no teachers, the veterinary clinics are no longer there, milk collection centers are not there, nothing works in the grazing reserve. Not only that, even the grass that is being taken care by the rainy rainfall, natural endowment is now giving way to unpalatable ones. Do you know why?
No.
Because the cows normally come out from the dry season very hungry, looking for food, emaciated. So in the first, second, third week of rain, immediately the new grasses begin to come out. These cows will be forced to be feasting on them. And by feasting on them, they remove them from their roots. So the grasses were not allowed to grow and drop seeds for next season. So this process makes the grazing reserves become bare. No grass that can be consumed by the cow, no water, no veterinary services. How do we expect the pastoralists to live there and see their only source of livelihood dying? So they have to move
from one place
to the other, looking for free pasture. And you cannot blame them for that, because as far as they are concerned, this is the only thing they know. This is the only thing they saw their forefathers do and they inherited. Up till today that we live in this era of development, these guys are still living in the past because there was no attempt to modernize their trade. There was no attempt to educate them. There was no attempt to give them concern and social amenities. So today what is happening is frustration among the pastoralist society, is loss of sense of belonging among the pastoralist society, and crime and criminality is very much affecting them and affecting their wealth at the same time. We see them as victims from the culprits that most of the public is looking at them, because they are the sole owners of the cows in the country. Today, our statistics shows us over 3 million cows have been lost due to cattle rustling and kidnapping.
Over 3 million?
Over 3 million. Because I always say, before 1 or 2 personalities are kidnapped, either in the main road or in the communities, I am telling you, believe me, Mala Hamza, hundreds of pastoralists are being kidnapped on a daily basis.
But what is there in the open is that they are the kidnappers. And then sometimes, maybe are there some kidnappers among them? And is there a nexus between their stolen cow and then them now migrating to become bandits and kidnappers?
Definitely. They say an idle man is a devil's workshop. I told you earlier, these guys are not educated. And if you take away the entire cow of their family, what do you expect they become tomorrow? Because they have no education and they have no any other skill apart from the cattle rearing. And if you take away the entire cows, what do you expect they become? With the exuberance, the lack of education, and poverty coming to add up, and sometimes the influence of drugs.
Where are the outlaws, their fathers, who we don't really see that are among the bandits? You know, where are they? Don't they talk to the children now to say there is hope or something?
How can you convince them? The only thing they know the family has is the cow, maybe goats and sheep. They go to bed rich people, they wake up in the morning poor people, because the entire of what they have is being taken away by bandits. And they see the back of the bandits going away with their cows without help, because they can't do anything because of the sophistication of the bandits. Even if they report the security, most of the times they report to the security, nothing is done. They come and report to us, we report to the security. Sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes the security will go after the bandits and get the cows back to them. But how many times this happens? So you see, cows are today missing in their thousands.
And government is doing nothing.
And the 98% of the cow owners of this country are the pastoralists. Whenever you hear a story about a cow being wrestled, it must have been wrestled from a Nigerian pastoralist. Then it must have been wrestled from a Fulani family. So what do you expect those children to become? With the frustration, with the lack of education, with poverty adding off to it, and maybe when this happened to them, they resort to drugs. And with the big merchants going around looking for recruits, they always become easy prey for initiation into all sorts of criminality into the country, because the big merchants take the advantage of their lack of education and the poverty level, maybe induce them with drugs and what have you. So today they become easy prey for initiation. That is why most of the times when they were caught among a gang of kidnappers, if the security interviews them, how much was taken from the victim, they will tell you maybe 5 million or 10 million. Out of that money, how much he was given to, they'll tell you maybe 30,000 or 50,000 naira. This goes to show you that there are some big merchants behind this racket here, because these guys are just being exploited because they are poor and because they have no education and because most of them are used. So the useful exuberance was the help of drug addiction and what have you. So this
what about the allegations? What about the allegation that they carry AK-47 rifles, they buy them at high cost? And what are the remedial measures?
You see, this thing started as a result of the unmanaged Palmer-Hader conflict. Because it was not managed very well, it gave rise to a small-scale cattle rustling. Then from that, it developed into large-scale and industrial-scale cattle rustling.
Okay.
When these criminals grow in sophistication, they migrated to kidnapping because it is easier to kidnap human being, give him orders to stay in one place and get liquid cash rather than taking the cow, roaming the wild, suffering before you get them disposed. And where even you dispose them, you get a cow that is selling for maybe 200,000, the buyer will just maybe take it for 50 or 30,000 naira. So they suffer before they get the cows disposed. So they migrated, when they grew in sophistication, they migrated to kidnapping. From kidnapping, banditry emerged as a result of the establishment of Ensakai vigilante groups in Katsina and Zamfara State in those years back. So this also is
and
a group.
And this Ensakai are Hausawa?
This is a group dominated by the Hausawa, fighting
Fulani
against.
But you see,
pastoralists who are
Chairman,
mainly Fulanis.
in other climes, even in Nigeria, even in newspapers, you say Hausa Fulani. Is it a misnomer? It's not really real definition of what is.
No, it is never a misnomer, because today, if you go to Kano area, hardly can you find a hardcore Fulani man, because of the crossbreeding intermarriages between the Hausas and the Fulanis. You can hardly find a Hausa man who has no Fulani lineage in his parental descent.
But they have been killing themselves in Zamfara, in Katsina, and other places. Where is the problem?
In some places, even Fulanis against Fulanis. Fulanis as farmers on one hand, and Fulanis as pastoralists on the other hand. Go to Katsina. Katsina is a Fulani-dominated state. So you see Fulanis as farmers, sometimes fighting with Fulanis as herders.
Very complicated.
Look at what is recently taking place in Taraba today. Fulanis killing the same Fulanis that they call Zamfara and Katsina, who is in Taraba. They see them, so they see them as criminals. So they went after them and killed them. And last 2 days, I also been informed that these guys are also taking revenge of what was done on them. So it's really a complicated issue.
Really a complicated,
it is a highly complicated issue.
We will take a short break here, and when we come, I will ask you some questions on some of the initiatives of government and how far they have gone. Viewers, stay with us.
Yeah, and look for what we chop.
This water have really spoiled many things. Even as I'm talking to you, I'm not in my own house.
I want to encourage them and assure them that their government, the governor they elected, had come to see them, and government officials have been going there to see them. They are not in this alone. We are with them.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Remember, you can follow the conversation on our various social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. We have in the studio Baba Othman Gazarma, the new chairman of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you reeled out so many issues and complications. But from 2015, when the incumbent administration came in, there was high expectation that some of these anomalies will be corrected. Where is the missing link? Because we have heard of Ruga, we have heard of livestock transformation, we also heard of reclaiming grazing routes and all. Yes, where are we?
Well, we are still where we are. There was very high hope when this administration came on board. Because we see General Muhammadu Buhari as one of those who knows the challenges of the pastoralists, because when he was in PTF, he has done a lot of things.
Okay, this was during Abacha.
Yes, he has done a lot of things to develop the grazing reserves and provide a lot of infrastructure. So there was a lot of hope when Buhari came in as the president. So we thought maybe this will be the end of our predicaments being faced by our members. But then, you know, politics as it is, it turned out the other way around, because Buhari was so much attacked by politicians because he's a Fulani man. So the attack was so much, we believe, that was what stopped Buhari from doing anything for the pastoralists, because whatever issue his administration touches on providing projects,
yes,
to the pastoralists, that intention is always faced with a lot of challenges.
From where?
Mostly from the south, and mostly from the South-dominated media.
But why?
So,
why the problem?
Because, you know, that negative profiling about the pastoralists was deliberate.
But this is a precedent, sir.
We believe, we as an association, or we as a group of planners, we believe we have become battleground for politicians, simply because Buhari is a Fulani man. So those guys outside who wants to spoil the name of the planners always started by spoiling our good name by always mentioning criminal Fulani herdsmen.
Yeah.
From there, Fulani kidnappers. From there, Fulani bandits. You have never heard of an Igbo armed robber, Igbo drug peddler, Igbo what, and Igbo this. But who dominated the drug peddling racketeer in this country today? Who are those being caught? Most of the outside countries on issues of drugs.
But don't you think that the president is also maybe a victim? Maybe he was twisted, he was blackmailed into not actually doing
exactly.
Some of these
that
issues.
Is what I'm trying to tell you. He has been blackmailed on
but he didn't wield the big stick as executive.
He didn't. That was the surprise we always have. He didn't. So he succumbed to
the pressure.
This pressure, when the talking about Riga started, you can imagine the pressure. You can bear me witness.
And the name was Tweet.
Pressure that dominated the So the federal government has to stop it. When it becomes cattle colony, it also becomes something else that the pastoralists, Buhari wanted to take land for Fulani, jihad, and what have you. All these types of, a lot of useless things were being attributed to those intentions. So as a government, they also rescinded. Later, the National Livestock Transformation Plan came.
Yeah.
That was what succeeded to some extent. But
okay, there was some success.
Yes.
Like where and where?
Yeah, there was, because money has been released to some of the governments, like the government of Katsina State.
But releasing money is one thing, and then doing the right thing with the money another.
Adamawa State, including my state, Yobe.
Okay.
In Yobe now, where I am, livestock village is taken off now, because a lot of dams were being constructed, settlements for the pastoralists, pasture is being provided. So a lot of things is going on in Nasari Grazing Reserves in Yobe State. So I believe the same thing is also taking place in Adamawa and the other places that have enjoyed the intervention of the National Livestock Transformation Plan. But then, even at that, how do you expect a livestock center in Adamawa that has the capacity of maybe containing not more than 30,000 cows to serve the purpose of about over 2 million cows in Adamawa State?
Yeah.
You know, so all that we are saying, the National Livestock Transformation Plan is okay as a model. At least the pastoralists will now begin to see how to transform into a modernized system of animal husbandry. They will begin to see that there are some cows that are weighing 500 to 600 kilograms. They will begin to see that the same cows that they have will be crossbreeded with another one, and the outcome will be giving them a maximum output of milk of maybe 20 to 25 liters. against the ones that they have that are only giving them 3 liters. So as a model, it's okay.
Positive.
It's positive, but in solving the problem, zero.
Long way to go.
It is
but don't you think that maybe some of
go.
your associations are also part of the problem? Do we call MACBAN socio-political, or is also socio-cultural association? This is one. And then you can see, while this issue of profiling, do you also profile? Because you made mention that, okay, simply because maybe you don't have the medium to also voice out people like the ones you mentioned, a particular tribe, that they are not being associated with certain things that people presume that they are really specialists in that aspect of crime.
You know, when much is said about you and you don't respond adequately, people will begin to think.
Propaganda. Once,
twice. People will begin to believe, well, maybe these guys are right. That is why the other group are not responding. But we are not responding because even if we respond, sometimes the story is being twisted.
Yeah, and even here we strongly discourage it in our headlines and all that. We don't really allow it to happen.
Even if you report, the story is being turned around, twisted to another thing else. So, because the North doesn't have a media, that is why we are always put in the defense. We have no avenue to voice out our grievances for the world to know.
Yes, we have started giving you now, and we hope you also reach, because we feel like if you reach out, sometimes you have to reach out even to the Southern media. And speak the facts, when you lay the facts bare, you explain.
In this administration that I am coming over to take, one of the major issues that I will have to address is the issue of media, is the issue of outreach, is the issue of developing our media output so that our stories can be heard on daily basis. Okay,
I want to ask you now, how are your members faring in states that they have banned grazing, they have banned the night movement of cattle? How are your members faring?
It's terrible. Take Benue, for example. I just saw yesterday how that governor is talking badly about the Fulanis, that is not going to support a Fulani candidate, that Fulanis, blah, 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 blah. It's really unfortunate.
But are they safe in areas where they are allowed to graze, maybe in the borderlines?
There is nowhere a pastoralist is safe today in the country. It's only areas he's taken. I'm telling you, as I speak to you now, about 15% of the pastoralists have moved out of this country.
15%?
15% of them have moved out of this country.
To where?
To where they can find shelter and peace for
like
themselves
Niger,
and their cows.
Benin,
Cameroon,
okay.
Central Africa. I heard they have found a new haven for them. They call Asia, a place in between the border of Cameroon and Central Africa.
From Nigeria?
From Nigeria.
And how will this affect the economy, the protein economy of Nigeria?
It will definitely affect the protein economy of Nigeria in the very near future. Because the cows, as I speak to you now, the pastoralists have lost about 3 million cows as a result of cattle reselling. And about 15% of their numbers are moving out of the country. And they will continue to move out. Because the cow is the only thing they have as their only.
Okay, we are approaching election.
Yeah.
And I heard that some of you were in Niger State. What are you taking to the table to negotiate with candidates? Or you have already endorsed one?
We didn't. We have never endorsed, and we are not going to endorse until when we presented them with our 7-point demand that is here. Our demands first on issues of security, our demand on victim support, because we have never been assisted in any form.
Okay, number one, you said you have to be secured.
We have to be secured.
And then number two, victim support.
Victim support. Number three, education of the pastoralist youth and the adult education given to the pastoralist adults. Not only that, including skill acquisition centers being provided for our pastoralists, because they have to move from cattle rearing only to diversify to other
endeavors
skills as well. In the event the cattle is taken by bandits, you will have somewhere to also
so
fall back to.
You're talking about skill acquisition and education.
So we have education, we have livestock development, where we requested for the establishment of a livestock ministry, or
a Ministry of Livestock, away from Ministry of Agriculture.
Away from the Ministry of Agriculture, like what is obtained in most of the West African countries. Or at worst, creation of an office of the State Minister for Agriculture.
Okay.
Because
in charge
the
of
challenges of livestock today is more than the one that can be handled by a mere animal husbandry department under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. So, and number 5, we also spoke on the National Livestock Transformation Plan, and also requested the governments to develop the existing grazing reserves we have as a prelude to settlement.
Some have been taken over by senior citizens, let me put it this way.
Oh, yes,
I don't want to call
but a lot of them
you want them to be reclaimed?
They have to be reclaimed, but a lot of them are still there, waiting for development.
But there are constitutional controversies around
How? There's never any constitutional controversy. But the issue is, these are the responsibilities.
Like Abuja now, it was gazetted before it was established.
These are the responsibilities of the state governments. And the state governments are not up to their responsibilities as far as livestock is concerned. Go and see their budget. In almost all the state government, you almost see a zero budget for livestock, including the federal government. Today, we are talking about over 500 billion spent on agronomy. How much was it spent on livestock development? Almost nothing. If not, with the emergence of the National Livestock Transformation Plan, where some states are beginning to access the intervention. Before that, nothing is being budgeted for livestock. So we want them to address this imbalance as well. Then the ethnic profiling and media bias against our members. These are part of the then federal and state budgetary provision that I speak about now. I spoke about now.
So you have 7
these
issues
are
there.
The 7 issues that we presented each and every aspirant. In this letter, we mentioned number 1, we say, in view of the above, Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association is desirous to having a one-to-one interface with the following presidential candidates. 1 is Aswaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu of APC. 2nd is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar Wazirin Adama of PDP. 3rd is Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party. 4th is Rabiu Musa Konkoso of the NNPP.
We have 18 candidates. We also reach out to
reach out to all the other.
Okay. Is it a condition now? They have to give you some specific. You have to have an agreement with them.
This is a 7-point demand that will present all the presidential aspirants and allow them to see us and answer these questions that we raise in relation to the 5 demands that we mentioned. We have to listen to them. We have to know how their manifesto is going to carry along the forested challenges in the country before we sit down, analyze, decide.
But you know how politicians behave.
We will go
yes, you know politicians, they will also consider your voting strength. Do you have the voters? Do you have the people? Have people collected their voters?
They very well know that we have a voting strength of about 15 million.
15 million?
From the over 30 million pastoralists, Fulanis we have in this country. We have a voting strength of about 15 million. They very well know if these guys can be sensitized, they are enough to sponsor a candidate and deliver him.
But you have a very big problem, and that was the issue you raised at the beginning of the interview, which I said I will have a question for you on that. We have Macban, you have Kautal Hore, you have many organizations. Is this not really a problem to you? And as new chairman now, what are you going to do to reach out to other organizations so that you can present your cases from position of strength?
It depends from the way you look at it.
Okay.
It's going to be a problem because if you do something today as the umbrella body, a smaller association will come out and say something different.
Okay.
So looking at it from that side is a problem. But looking at it from the point of view of who has the structure and the strength, we have our presence in all the 36 states of the Federation and FCT. We have our strength offices in all the local governments of the Federation where you can find Fulanis. We have our representation in each and every ward, councillor ward, in every state of the northern part of the country. We have five representatives in each of the councilor ward of the northern, of the 20 states, of the 19 states and FCT states of the north.
Federal Capital Territory,
so we have a very good spread, we have a very good structure that we can do our things without minding anybody. But then, if we are all working for the betterment of the Nigerian pastoralists, we have to bring all the other associations together. We'll have to have a time within a particular year to meet, whether twice or thrice or 5 or 6 times.
To discuss
come
the general
together,
problems.
discuss together, distribute responsibilities. You go and deal with the cultural aspect of the pastoralism. You go and deal with
political But have you made your mind on any of the candidates? You can see Afenifere, they are divided between Peter Obi and Tinubu.
I'm just coming up on board as the newly elected president. I have not been inaugurated.
Okay.
I have not been inaugurated up till now. So I will have to wait until when I'm inaugurated. I will sit with my ESCO. We'll have a one-to-one interface with all the major presidential aspirants, discuss with them and listen to them before we come back, sit together, discuss and see whom we can support, if we can support any at all.
So you are now bright.
So we are now bright. I just read in some of the newspaper publications today, a lot of people called to tell me that we have endorsed the APC president. I said no.
Okay.
I met with him yesterday in Mina and I presented to him the 17-point demand that we need answers. And I told him in person that we are looking forward to when you will invite me and my ESCO with all the 36 branch state chairman and FCT, we will come and listen to you so that we hear what your manifestos has for us as the Nigerian pastoralists. Until when this is done, when we will sit and see whom we can support. I have met with Atiku Abubakar in person and delivered to him the same document. I am going to meet with Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and Peter Obi and deliver them the same document. When this is done, then we sit and wait for them.
To see their responses.
To see their responses. Until when this is done, before we come together and sit and decide on who we can support, if we can support any at all.
Okay.
This is our position.
Chairman, a former governor of Anambra, Chukwuemeka Ezepe, in a recent interview said Fulani, that Nigeria needs Fulani more than the other way around. That is more than the way Fulani needs Nigeria. But that you have a certain problem, that you have this feeling of born to rule. Is it true? Maybe he is alluding to the candidature of some candidates, and then Buhari, who is also, rounding up his tenure. But have you gained anything from, people who are said to be from your...
Is there a time when a Fulani candidate is elected as the president of this country without the board of the southern people, without the board of the southeast, southwest, and the south-south? There has never been a time when a Fulani man emerged as a president without enjoying the boards of these areas. So it is not only the North that are voting the Fulanis, and it is not only the Fulanis that are claiming they are supposed to be ruling. It is the entire, the decision of the entire Nigerian electorate. So this is a gift from God, I believe.
Okay.
If you put a Fulani man among 20 other ethnic groups and ask this group of 20 to bring out one person to be their leader, I am telling you, out of the 10 or 20 groups that you will put and ask each group to produce one person as their leader, I am telling you, out of these 10 groups, 6 Fulanis will emerge as a leader.
Oh, okay.
This is because
it's a confident statement from you.
This is because of so many attributes. Because we have no much hatred on other tribes.
Not much expectation.
We accommodate everybody, and we always accept everybody as a human being. We see everybody as a human being. That is why the Fulanis are going to the south and settle there, born their children there. Go to the Igbo side. The pastoralists who are living there can
All
speak
right.
fluent Igbo to you. Go to the Yoruba side, they can speak fluent Yoruba
you can
to
see also we also have the Igbos going around all the states in the north. So your final word to the incoming president, just in a sentence or two. What is your final call?
To the
the president that we are going to elect, whoever he is.
Okay.
Just in a word or two.
You see, whenever I'm going to speak as the president of Mieta Allah, I always speak about the challenges of Nigerian pastoralists. Whoever is emerges as a president, our plea to him is to see the challenges of the Nigerian pastoralists
and address them.
And address them most properly.
All right.
Because we are a productive society, because we supply the entire protein needs of the country, because we are productive, we have never relied on government for anything. So if you can encourage us, we can produce more revenue than any other revenue generating agencies in this country.
Thank you very much, Baba Usman.
Very important.
We thank you very much for your informed perspective and for bringing out some of the problems affecting your people. There are many, and we hope those that matter will listen and address them. Yeah, and because this is where we come to the end of the program today. Thank you for watching, and do join us again. I am Hamza Idris.